Hi, right. I can hear Sarah. Eureka.
Mr. Colley can hear us now. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Yay!
I don't know what I
I
did.
found this. Do you know? I think it's just Blab. It
Yeah.
happens every time I do a Blab. One of the presenters can't get sound until we've come in and out a few times. So nice to have you with us. Let me press record. Might as well get going. And I think, as I was saying to everyone then, I think more than anything, the recording is going to be picked up on this rather than the live event due to timing. So we've just had someone else join us. Hello. All right. Well, John Colley, thank you so much for joining us today. A legend in the Udemy space for everyone, all of the entrepreneurs watching. John has got over 23 Udemy courses, which is very impressive. I mean, we all know how much work goes into creating an online course, so that's massive. Lots of respect from a fellow online course creator. Well over 27,000 students, which is just incredible. And a string of best-selling Udemy courses as well. So thank you so much, John, for coming and sharing with us today some of your tips on how you've created so many courses, how you've done so well with your sales, how you've managed to consistently have your courses up in the top and trending. And also what we're really excited to hear about from you today as well is your insights into the recent pricing changes, which I hope you can tell us a little bit more about, how that's affecting Udemy instructors, whether we're existing or those new upcoming wannabe Udemy instructors as well. What does that mean for us? How is that going to affect the way we create courses? And how is that going to affect the way that we promote, market and sell them as well? So I guess I'll hand over to you, John, first. I guess tell us a little bit about your Udemy journey. How long have you been with Udemy and what's your journey looked like since you've been there?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to take you on as my PR consultant if you give me intros like that. Thank you very much. I started with Udemy back in July 2013. And my first course was an analysis of the Udemy marketplace as it was then. And there were just 4,000 courses on it. And I think that was probably the first course on Udemy that actually looked at Udemy itself, whereas everybody else was doing courses, on other subjects. Now there are hundreds of courses about how to make courses on Udemy. So I've just been sort of ticking out the courses fairly steadily. Sometimes I have a burst of energy and I'll get a couple done in a month, then I'll go a month or two without getting them done. It's certainly one of the major and important things you have to do on Udemy is to get a portfolio of courses together, because one of the best ways to sell is to cross-sell. So that's really, really important. But yeah, it's been good. The price change, which you're going to discuss, has made a major difference in the last couple of months, but I think it's going to come back. I can't see why it won't come back, and we can talk about that in more detail. In terms of what I make courses about, I basically make courses about what I'm doing, what I know, what I've got experience at. And after 28 years of investment banking and 9 years in the army, I've been around a bit, as you can see from the lack of hair at the top. I've got into social media marketing in a big way in the last 5 years. I've been networking for years and years and years. So there's a lot of stuff I could produce courses on, and I tend to produce courses on something that I'm passionate about, and hopefully that comes across.
Do you know, that's an interesting point as well. In fact, we might as well talk about that since this led onto it quite nicely. Is I've not been in the Udemy space anywhere near as long as you have, but I've obviously been very much immersed myself into what are the different strategies people are using to make these big passive income salaries basically from Udemy every month. And there are sort of two approaches there. One is the teach something you're passionate about approach, and then there is the other look at the topics that are trending the most, the ones that are getting the most interest, the most searches on Udemy, and create a course in that. And obviously, naturally, you're going to be tapping into a hot topic, which is exactly what Udemy calls them. Udemy every so often will promote and post a blog article on what's hot and trending, so that they are encouraging more instructors to create courses in those particular topics. Which of those two strategies would you say is the better way to go, John?
Well, I think first of all, you've got to know what you're talking about. I don't think there's any way around that. You can't just get a book out and try and copy the book into a course. I don't think that works, particularly when people start asking you questions about it. I don't actually follow the hot topics per se, but what I do, and as you know, I do an awful lot of analysis of the Udemy marketplace, is that if I am going to produce a new course, so for instance, I'm looking at maybe doing a course on negotiation. So I would jump into the Udemy marketplace and go and have a look at the negotiation. Can we share screens very easily?
Yes, if you go down to the little purple box at the bottom,
right,
where it says drop anything here, if you click on that little purple rectangle.
Okay, I'm just going to...
Oh, I think I need to make you a host first.
That's okay. I'm just going to open... I'm just opening up a piece of software, and I hope I've got the right one. Oh, I've got the right one. This'll do, actually. This is a work in progress, but it'll make the point. Right. So now to share screen. No, what do I need to do? So where do I go now?
If you go down to the bottom of the Blab screen, there's a little purple rectangle.
Oh, got it.
Yep. Yep. I'll show your screen now.
Oh, I've got to add this screen share thing. Okay, I've got to add the extension.
Now, you won't be able to actually see us when you've got your screen sharing on. So if any questions come up, I'll interrupt you.
Okay. Let's see how we go with this.
But yeah, it's an interesting concept, isn't it? Because we do see people, I mean, I've certainly seen in the Udemy Facebook groups where people are saying, you know, I've seen that this topic's hot right now. And they go out and get a bunch of developers together and create an online course on it. And, you know, there are some people that are making quite a huge amount of money doing it that way.
Yeah.
And it really does come as quite a point of contention, that particular strategy, doesn't it? With perhaps traditional educators who are going, no.
Okay, can you see that screen now with these two big pie charts? Okay, what I'll do is I'll drop off the bottom one and just keep it simple. What you're looking at there is my current work in progress on my update of the Udemy marketplace. At the moment, this has got just under 20,000 of the 24,500 courses in it. I'm still collecting the data and will update this later today. So when
sorry to interrupt you, John. For anyone watching this on a replay, this is currently being recorded on the 1st of June 2016.
Great. And on the left-hand side, you can see the number of courses by in the pie chart by category, and on the right-hand side, it's the number of courses by subcategory. So if I'm looking to make a course, then what I would do, and I'm using this software. Actually, this you can get access to this in my Udemy course directory, which is one of my courses. But if I want to make a course on negotiation, so I would type in, if I can do it without negotiation, without spelling it incorrectly. See what happens. Empty. I obviously can't spell. No, I can't spell. Here we go. Try again. Negotiation. Right, okay, so now I can see that there are 53 courses on negotiation. And what I would then do is simply go to the table, change the view. This hasn't been sorted for all the details. I mean, the ratings and student numbers are currently in one line together. But here I can see, let's just do it by length of course. So I can see that there is a course by Richard Burke, which is 41 hours on negotiation, but he's only got 257 students. There's another one here, which is salary negotiation.
Sorry, John, one course on Udemy is 41 hours long.
41 hours of video, yeah. But he's only got 10 reviews and 257 students, so he needs to do but okay, he's got 8 lectures in it. So this tells me he's just taken something which is like huge recordings and just put them together.
Course or something.
Yeah. Whereas if you look at Jim Hopkinson's course, which I know is excellent, and that might be a duplicate, or maybe I don't have to look at that. There's possible duplicate there, but that doesn't matter at this point. I say this is raw data. I haven't gone and worked on it, but he's got 14 lectures, 32 hours. He's got 475 reviews, and he's got 19,537. Wow. Now that tells me,
John,
That tells me.
So I was going to say, can I ask you, is
Yeah.
that normal to have courses quite that long in Udemy? Because one of the trends we're seeing, or what I thought that we were seeing recently, was that people are now creating shorter courses because of the pricing change. Would you say that, you know, the 30, those big courses, is it normal to have them that big?
No, you're quite right. The courses are definitely getting shorter, and I think Udemy want them to be shorter because my understanding is that the student experience, which is all important to Udemy, is what it's all about. And if you have really, really long courses, it's difficult for students to concentrate, to get all the way through them. They get very overwhelmed, etc. So no, that does not necessarily work. And my courses are now, I'm producing 1.5, 2 hour courses.
Yeah,
Apart from
because I can hear my future course creators going, oh my gosh, I have to create a 40-hour course. You know, it's going to put a lot of people off, I think.
I'm just going to jump back in with you now. Hang on, let's put all these away.
Yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you when you were just finishing that part.
So there we go. I'm back. So yeah, I go into my data and I go and check that there is a good market for it. And then, frankly, what I go and do is I go and look at some of the leading courses and have a look at their course structures. I don't subscribe to them and copy them, but I go and have a look at their course structures and I look at how they have put their courses together. I've already got in my mind an idea of how I want to do mine. But very often, you know, you'll miss 1 or 2 key points and you'll realize that, oh, yes, I need to have that in, I need to have that in. And the idea is to design a course which is better than anybody else has got out there, while still addressing the course objective. And so that's how I do it.
And you were saying there, obviously what you've got there is a fantastic piece of software that people can find out more about, that will find all of this data and this information for you as to what the best-selling courses actually are. Now, a few months ago, what was a best-selling course, or what made a best-selling course in Udemy, is now quite different because a lot of the algorithms have recently changed in Udemy. So now, these days, since the recent changes, what is it that makes a best-selling course? Is it the number of students? Is it inside engagement? Is it ratings? And can you give us some more info on that? What are you looking for when you're looking at those courses to see what you're going to build?
I think, well, I mean, what makes a best-selling course and what Udemy promotes as a best-selling course, I think is possibly slightly different. Udemy's objective is to get the best student experience because then the students are happy and they buy more courses. My objective is to make the best course I can that will teach the student everything they need to know before I start worrying about the Udemy algorithm. But I think from Udemy's point of view, it's very much about student engagement, student completion rates, people leaving comments, people leaving ratings and reviews. One of the changes they've made is to take away a lot of the student feedback and now just ask students to leave ratings and reviews actually much earlier. So instead of giving a 1 to 10 feedback, they can now leave a rating and review, and they're asked for one normally after the 4th or 5th lecture. And they can also give, instead of just giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, they can give 1.1 or 4.6. So it becomes a more graduated figure. Now, what has happened there, and it's really quite striking, is that up to December, across the whole Udemy marketplace, there were approximately, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I could get the numbers for you by just jumping back into another database. It's something like 600,000 reviews across the whole Udemy database in December. They made this change at the beginning of January or thereabouts, and that's added about 250,000 reviews in 3 months. And in the last 7 weeks, it's added another 250,000 reviews.
Wow.
So, but bear in mind, there are 11 million students on Udemy, and you've got to figure that they are taking probably, 40, 50 million courses. So the rate of reviews is still very low. I reckon it's in the order of 2 or 3%. If you look at the number of students in a course, which I can show you, and you look at the number of reviews, then it's actually quite interesting. we'll do another dive in.
And how
if you'd
can
like. Yeah.
how can we help instructors with that area? Because that's actually an area where I really struggle with as well, Johnny, is getting reviews. I find there's this kind of ickiness around saying to people, please can I have a review?
Well,
because I've really got this saying, some of my courses have got a lot of students in them, and they have, I think I've got one that's got about 8 reviews on there. And it's, how can we increase that?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, you have the power to give to leave an automated message, which you can do when somebody enrolls in your course and when they complete the course. So in that automated message, you can have a little call to action, which goes along the lines of something like, if you enjoy the course, please leave an appropriate rating and review. If you've got any concerns about the course, please contact me directly, message me directly, i.e. if you think it's rubbish, tell me about it. If you think it's, not rubbish and you're happy with it, then create a rating and review. A rating and review can be changed at any time by the student. So if you do get a bad one, you can always go back to them in the comments, because you can now comment. Instructors can comment on ratings and reviews. And I comment on every single rating and review that's left. Every once a week I go in and I just leave individual comments to every single, person who's left me a rating and review. And when you have any interaction with a student, in the discussions or in the messaging, always leave a PS. Now, you can't say, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. And you mustn't say that, because Udemy will jump down your throat, quite rightly. But you can ask for an appropriate, please tell me what your course by leaving, sharing, your thoughts on the course and a rating and review to help the other students and give me some feedback. And it always puts a smile on my face when I get a great rating and review. Thank you very much. So there's lots of stuff you can say like that, but you need to be hustling for them all the time. Every interaction you have with a student, you should always have a PS which says, please leave an appropriate rating and review.
That's a great idea. I've never tried the PS one when you're in discussions. Well, do they even have the discussion panel in there now? I've noticed that seems to have changed as well recently.
They've got 4 different panel layouts, but there are discussions and Q&As. It used to be side by side with the curriculum, which I thought was better, but I guess perhaps it's more distracting. So I guess it's they're always working on the layout. Yeah, they're always changing the layout, and I think on the whole for the better. I mean, they do put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, no, I like it. So you're going to show us something else then? Yeah,
what I was going to do was I'm going to just change over my database. So just close this one. You can't see what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just going to quickly jump across to a different database. Because this is the piece of work I did the other day, which I think is actually quite revealing. And what I did was I had a data set from the beginning of April, from the 4th of April. Let's get back to share the screen. From the 4th of April.
That was when the main changes took place, wasn't it?
When they made the big price change, yeah. And so I saw, let's just reset, that's fine. I saw... I at that point I had data from December as well, but basically for each instructor, I went and got the data off their profile, which had the number of reviews, the number of students, and the number of courses. And I've put together, and again, it's difficult for you to see this, I might just drop that out. But in these different columns, this one I'm highlighting at the top here is total courses the instructors got in December 2015. That's the total courses April. And that's the change. Now, in this particular case where you got -132, I think this instructor must have taken his courses private and then he's relisted them later. And then I've got the courses on the 24th of May and I've got the total change. So if we just look at the total courses, that 134 figure is because I think somebody unpublished and republished. But the next one down the instructor is Hamalu Limited. It's obviously a company that produces online courses and publishes them on Udemy. He's put up 20. Then it's Infinite Skills, and that's a group where they put together courses as well. They've put up 20 courses, and this is in the 7 weeks between the beginning of April and the end of May. Then you've got Rheinwerk Verlag, which again 19 courses. Then Joe Paris. This is where it gets interesting. Joe Paris, 16 courses.
Wow.
So,
and do you think this is the strategy they use, John? Because obviously those of us that are active in the Facebook Udemy groups are aware of the fact that a lot of Udemy instructors left Udemy, going, this is a disgrace. You can't discount our programs. You can't cap how much we can sell our courses for. And a lot of people left or, declared that they were going to leave. And all of these people that you're talking about now that have put up, 10, 15, 20 plus courses in that exact period, do you reckon that they had a strategy there to try and dominate and become sort of top-notch and trending while everyone else was going quiet and stopping?
No, I think they're taking it. Their approach and their rationale is slightly different. One is it's simply to get as many courses up there as possible. I haven't yet done the analysis, but what I have noted is that if you take, I don't want to single out Joe in particular, but you take a number of these people who have put up a lot of courses in a very short time. What they have been doing is joint venturing with other instructors who have also got large student bodies. So they put together a course, and again, I can't say whether they're long courses or short courses. They have to both do work on them because if they don't, Udemy will not be happy about the joint authorship. And by publishing, they basically are able to promote that course to two sets of students where one set of students may not be familiar with the other instructor and vice versa. So that's what's happened there. On your point about the instructors leaving, when I have finished doing the analysis I'm doing at the moment, I will end up with the links to all the current instructors. And I'm going to, apart from repeat this analysis just to make sure I'm complete, I will be able to see how many instructors have left since the 4th of April. Because I'll be able to see who's new. I'll be able to see who's new, and I'll be able to see who's no longer there. And I suspect the number won't be as big as everybody thinks it will be. Because there have been...
I think a lot of people have just sat back and gone quiet, haven't they? Just to watch what's happening.
Yeah. If you look at the reviews, and we'll look at it on the same basis of just this last... reviews change April 16th to May 16th. Okay, so that's going to suit it the wrong way. Right. Now you get something which is quite interesting. Rob Percival, 11,000 reviews in seven weeks. And that is because Rob is, without question, one of the best-selling authors. He's got something like, I can see the numbers here, actually. He's got over 400,000 students.
Crikey.
and therefore that number is completely genuine. He produces fantastically good courses. The next one down is going to be infinite. Rob Percival, and then John Purcell's the next one down. He's got 659,000 students, and he's picked up 5,700 reviews. But where it gets interesting is if you come down here, and you find somebody who's got a total of 7,004. I'm not going to name them. 7,453 students, and in that 7-week period, they've got 1,785 reviews. Now, that is such an outlier in terms of the average that, and I know Udemy are working to address this problem, but you can see, here's another one below, 4,272 students, 1,600 reviews.
Yeah, the percentages doesn't match up, does it?
No. So and you can do things like
if we just like that could be being
if I just
being sneaky
keep these,
with their reviews.
Well, they're just bringing in fake reviews. Let's just change this to a graph, so you can see what have we got here. We've got the changes April to May and the total students. Right. So here you can see the review changes and the total students. The total students along the bottom. Go from 0 here to 340,000, and then and I've just picked out these are just 39 of the top increases in reviews by the most reviews. And if we just said, okay, well, let's just look at everybody, and we'll keep those. We just say everybody under 20,000 students. So I just move that out. I'm going to have to do that again slightly because I've got 2 in there. Move that. So now you see that you've got this group where they've got less than 20,000 students, but they've got, there's an extra 2,141 reviews, 2,000 reviews, 1,000. There's something going on here. And this is the power of the software to pick out the outliers, if you see what I mean. So
that's pretty smart.
Yeah. And then if you go and look at the student changes, student change April to May, who's picked up the most students? Again, no great surprises. Make Money Online, which is they produce multiple courses. They've got something like they had 900. This is very strange because they had 920 courses. Then they had 10 courses.
920 courses.
I don't know what they're doing. I could jump and see them,
wow.
but that's a red herring. If I go to the
see, that really astounds me. 920 courses.
Let's look at the instructor profile.
That's huge.
I'm just jumping into Udemy.
There's something to.
You see, now it's down to 10 courses. So then maybe there's an error. Maybe there's an error in my data there. That's very possible.
The most successful instructors, John, do they have, generally speaking, when I say successful, let me reword that, the instructors that are making the most money on Udemy, do they have lots and lots and lots of courses on Udemy, or do they just simply have a handful of really good ones that they've co-instructed, for instance?
I think if you look at who's most successful, and let's just look at the guys with the most students for a second. Let's just take it down to, in fact, not even
those numbers students. Blow my mind. Yeah, I'm really excited because I've got over 3,000 students, and now you're telling me there's people there with nearly 1 million.
this is. I'm just going to keep the people who have increased their students by more than 5,000 in the last 7 weeks, and let's go into a pie chart and have a look at. Number of records split by. Now I want to split.
And are these paying students, John, or are they free students, or is there no way of telling?
That is another no, I can't do this because I haven't got this data in this data set. What I was going to look at and see what the categories and subcategories were. The simple answer to your question is I think there's two groups. I think there's one group who are doing tech courses and very skills related courses. Teaching people programming and that sort of thing. These courses tend to be very, very long. They tend to be relatively inexpensive, and people, particularly from India and places like, buy them, which is why John Purcell and Rob Percival do so well. They have relatively few courses, 10, 20 courses, but they have huge numbers of people in them. The other group is the people who are doing a much broader range of courses, particularly where they're joint venturing. And so they have 50 or 60 or 70 courses, and that's where it works. So you take people like me, where I'm somewhere in the middle. I've got 23 courses published. Actually, I've made 29, but I've only got 23 in the marketplace because I took some private. And I'm sort of doing okay, but compared to some of these guys, I'm not in any way killing it. The problem is that you then fight the algorithm, because Udemy rewards people who sell a lot of courses. So if you and I were to team up, and let's say we both had 30,000 students, and we did a course together and we cross-sold it into my students and into your students, we would probably get 1,000 sales. Well, that would then bump it up in the algorithm, which then makes it more visible, which means more people buy it, which means, and it's and that's a much quicker way of jumping forward your sales with cross-selling than it is just doing it off your own bat.
Yeah, interesting. And I think that's why, we see a lot of the more successful instructors, the ones that are making a lot of money, do tend to try and sort of dominate one particular category purely for that reason, because if they're on the first few pages, they're the ones being promoted by Udemy, they're the ones then therefore that get picked up by the affiliates, then they get the larger numbers, the social proof, which means more and more people join. I guess this self-fulfilling prophecy of continuous growth, which is great if you can get yourself up up there. Obviously not so great if you're one of the people trying to compete against one of those big guys in there.
Yeah.
But I guess one of the great things about hearing these figures and these statistics from you, John, is that the fact is that despite the changes that are being made, people are still making hundreds of thousands and in some cases millions of dollars selling their courses on Udemy. I mean, it's a fact, despite what people are saying. So I guess that's kind of encouraging for those of us that are thinking about getting courses up there.
I would let's be realistic. And the 80-20 rule, I did look at these figures late last year when Udemy had produced another sort of top 10 sellers. And if you go as well into places like the Udemy Studio towards the end of last year, lots of people were boasting about their milestones. Oh, I did it a couple of times. I've just reached $30,000 in sales or $40,000 in sales. And I was picking
up... it when people do that. I find it really encouraging and motivating.
I think it provides me with very good data, which I really like. But what you can see from that is, because I can take those numbers and I can then look and see how many courses they've got, how many students they've got, and fit them into the league table, but much further down. And 80-20 and 80-20 squared and cubed and to the power of 4 applies, i.e. the top 20% get 80% of the revenues, but the top 20% of that 20% get 80% of the revenues, and the top 20% of that get 80% of that. So it really did apply. So yeah, people like Alan Hill and John Purcell and Rob Percival are making hundreds of thousands. Udemy's publicly announced figure, I think last time I saw it, was that the average instructor on Udemy makes $7,000, but that's not a year. That's in total. So
right, as in ever.
That's the average earnings of a Udemy instructor, over
right.
Over
so I thought that was per year.
No.
Interesting. Well, I'm doing all right then.
Yeah. And I would look, when I did the maths, the average, if you looked at, and I did this based on my sales, because I could see the value of the sales I was getting net of the free students. Basically, the average sale price for an instructor, the average revenue to an instructor per course was something as low as $6. Because of all the discounting and, that is changing. It depends, obviously, because you get the revenue share split and you get the discounting. And one of the reasons Udemy made this big price change wasn't to simplify the prices, in my view. It was to try to take away the mega discounting.
Yeah, because I think across the board that was sort of devaluing a lot of the courses that were on there, because students were sort of waiting for the sales all the time. People weren't buying courses unless they were $1 or free or $5. It's interesting to see how the market is adjusting to the fact that the majority of courses are no cheaper than $10 now. Which is pretty interesting. On that, can I ask your opinion on the free coupon strategy? I think that's a nice segue there. Is one of the methods that people use to, especially when they're first starting, and a lot of the audience that we're talking to here may be new instructors or thinking about putting a course up there. And how do they get the first course noticed by Udemy? And one of the ways people do that is to create free coupons and try and get students into the course that way. Now, I've got my own opinions on this strategy, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, John.
Okay. Back in the day, it was quite effective because Udemy did not differentiate in the algorithm between free students and paid students. In conversations with Udemy, I have been told explicitly that they now weight paid students much heavier than they weight free students. So you don't get anything like as much ranking algorithmic credit for a whole pile of free students. So the real question is, and you can't see anymore the number of students in a course. It used to be on the main marketplace and you could see the number of students, and that was almost like social proof. So the next key question is, if you give your course away to a free student, is he going to buy the next course? And I actually looked at this before we came on, because I keep a spreadsheet of all my, because you can download it each month, the CSV of your sales that month. And I keep a master spreadsheet, which I just updated this morning. And I can say almost without exception, they don't. So
interesting.
So my view is that free students are a complete waste of time, because they actually have a negative effect on you. And I'll tell you one thing that they tend to do is that when you send out lots of promotions and stuff like that, they're not interested in them. So what do? They unsubscribe from emails. And Udemy picked that up, and actually Udemy told me that my unsubscribe rate was 3 times the number of the average. And I said, well, would you like to check and see what type of students are unsubscribing? And they didn't actually then confirm what I thought, but free students are not, in my view, worth filling your courses with, because they just, if they're going to buy, they're going to buy. But if they come in and they freeload, they won't. And a lot of these guys don't even take the courses, so you don't even get any student engagement. Sorry, my dog has decided to stop doing that. Very rude.
Okay. And I think this is the nature of Udemy, isn't it? It's one of the reasons why Udemy is so fantastic, is because for those people who don't have an email list, who don't have a big marketplace, who don't have a huge audience yet, one of the things I'm constantly saying to instructors is you should be using Udemy as a platform, because it's like having your course on a giant supermarket shelf where there are, like you say, 11 million people walking by that could potentially buy your course that you wouldn't otherwise have access to if you are new to the online learning world. But that obviously comes with its negative side, in that if you do have an audience that are targeted, and you give away some free coupons, you give away some free content, or you give away some free webinars or free information, often they do convert, because they are your target audience. They are connected to you because they either like you, what you do, or what you talk about. Whereas with Udemy, because it's just one gigantic untargeted marketplace, there's people that are interested in all different kinds of topics. It is a little bit like just throwing a net across the whole entire ocean, isn't it? You are less likely to get conversion rates or high conversion rates from free to paid, because of the fact that it's just not targeted.
You're absolutely right. If you can offer a free coupon to, say, your Facebook group, or to your Facebook group, i.e. a closed Facebook group of people who are already, in your orbit, that's one thing. If you go and stick a free coupon out on Best Black Hat Forum, where it's just, anybody, then they just jump in and pile in. Now, I have to admit that I'm trialing, with Sergey Kazimov, who I've actually produced an Amazon FBA course. He wanted to run a trial, and we're running it to see if we give away, because we've got 2 courses. We've got a very small beginner's course, and we've got a main course, which is 7 hours long. And he's set up and has been distributing free coupons to the short course. And we're going to see again if that has any effect. So I think we had about 1,800 people sign up for the short course. But we're going to see, and I watch very carefully, if any of those actually convert then down into the main course. And I suspect they won't. So I do occasionally.
It's an interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see what your results are for that, because one of the strategies that I often say to online instructors to use is to put their sort of shorter taster courses on Udemy to try and sort of get that marketplace, passive income for a start, but also to trap fish in the net that they perhaps wouldn't have access to, and then put their bigger, more advanced programs on a private platform of some kind. And different educators that I'm talking to and giving that advice to are all having quite different results from using that method. And I think it does come down to, doesn't it, is where you're marketing. If those people that do have existing marketplaces that are using that strategy are getting conversions, whereas the people who are just hitting and hoping are not doing quite so well with that.
Yeah, I think it is a difficult one. Of course, you have to remember that Udemy also promotes courses, and they do promotions. So you do benefit from their proactive outreach, as well as the fact that people just come onto the marketplace. I mean, one of the reasons I created my Udemy course directory is because I wanted to give people a tool where they could actually go and find the best courses independent of the search algorithm. I tried. I've got a limited version of it which I give away, but again, the conversions from that to the main course don't happen. And you think once you'd seen what a useful tool it could be, then you think it would work. But basically, freebie course takers pretty well don't convert. I would say it's almost better, and you can't do this anymore because you used to be able to do $1 courses. But I did find, I mean, I had courses up in a couple of places for $1, and those I have shown do buy on. They do buy more courses. So
because they've had to put their hand in their pocket, and therefore must be an interested party. Yeah.
Get them over that threshold to paying you something, then they are much more likely to buy from you in future. And I think that's true.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, I completely agree. And in fact, I wrote a whole article on this in the past, saying how, yes, when there was the social proof there, when Udemy didn't differentiate between the paid customers and the freeloading customers, it was a good strategy, because, people would look at two courses with the same topic and go, well, that one's got 20,000 students, that one's only got 50 students. They would tend to pick the one that had the most students. But, then as an instructor, you kind of look at that and go, well, what's the point when you've just basically got 20,000 people who are never going to buy anything from you? I'd rather have 50 paying students than 20,000 non-payers.
I was talking to one of my coaching students the other day, and actually she put her finger on the button when she said, what you need to be looking for is not just people who are interested in your topic. You don't even want to be interested. You don't even want to go and try and find people who are, on YouTube. People search to find out how to do things, but they don't buy. On Facebook, people want to interact, but they don't buy. On Twitter, they want to have conversations, but they don't buy. So what you are actually seeking is the holy grail of that subset of those people who are people who buy online courses. Now, if you think about Amazon and you think about Kindle books, Amazon's got, I don't know what the number is today, 350, 400 million people, all with credit cards, all who are used to buying on Amazon. So if you stick a product on Amazon, it's addressing an audience who are a buying audience. I was talking to Gabby Wallace for my podcast the other day, and Gabby said she's given up trying to sell on YouTube because the audience there are not a buying audience. So she gets them back to her website, she gets them onto her list, and then she cultivates them, and then some of them buy. Somebody really loves you. Can you see this, Sarah?
Yeah, I know. Thanks so much for that. That's awesome.
So that is the crux of the issue. But Udemy is definitely still the best marketplace to be on, and for that reason and that reason alone, I tell people that's where you should start putting your online courses, and then you develop your strategy beyond that.
Yeah, and I think that's another one of another strategy that I've seen instructors use is instead of just giving out a free coupon, for instance, if you do have a target audience that you want to try and get in the bottom of your sales funnel, put at least the free coupon behind an email wall. At least, can you put it on a landing page so that they at least have to exchange their email address in return for that coupon, because that will at least filter out some of the people and be the equivalent maybe of those $1 people that you can then nurture once they're on your email list to try and convert them into the higher paying stuff. Definitely. So how are we doing for time? We've got 15 minutes left. So with that in mind then, John, with the recent changes that have taken place in terms of pricing, with the recent changes in hot topics that are coming along, and all of the recent changes that you've noted in terms of sales and marketing, do you have any tips for both existing and up and coming online course instructors as to what they might be thinking about putting at the top of their list for sales and marketing strategies for their online courses, particularly Udemy courses?
Yeah, good question. I think first of all, let's just have
what's working?
Yeah, a very quick word on pricing. I looked at the balance of prices across the marketplace over the last 7 weeks, and actually what has happened is there's been a slight reduction of high price courses and a slight increase at the low end of low price courses of $20 and $25 courses. I still think people want to pay $10 for a course. So my starting point with anybody is, if you launch a course on Udemy, at least start it at $20 and be prepared to offer it with your own coupon at 50% discount to your audience, to people out there, and make 50% coupons available, as widely as you like, because that's basically a $10 purchase, and people are still, I think, buying at that level. I haven't done again. I want to look at and see which price courses have had the most. Is there a relationship between lower price courses selling more courses over the last 7 weeks compared to higher price courses selling more courses? But I'm until I get the data together, I can't do that. So there has definitely been a price shock effect on the audience in Udemy, and this is a recognized economic reaction, that when prices change aggressively very quickly, the first reaction people is step back and do nothing. And Udemy tell us apocryphally that they get the larger part of their sales, and they didn't say how big a proportion of their sales, from the people who joined most recently, i.e. in the last 3 months. So they're saying that they're expecting, once this 3-month period is over, for sales to pick up again. Plus, sales are typically quiet at this part of the year. They tend to pick up as we get into the summer and then towards Christmas, and then they drop off in the early part of the year. So there's some seasonality effect, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons Udemy decided to make the price change when they did. So you then come to, how do you get sales for your courses if you're doing the promotions? And my recommendation is now, basically, and actually I'm giving a talk at New Media Europe on growth hacking sales, and my basic talk position is to say, well, hang on a second, stop selling. Everybody is bombarded with sales messages and offers and all the rest of it. The exception to that is your 2 promotional messages a month on Udemy, which you must use. Not to use that is just leaving money on the table. That's silly. So off Udemy, it's about building your communities, building your audience, building your engagement, getting people onto your list, and then cultivating them and getting to know them, and then expecting them to buy. If you just hit everybody,
and I think you do that quite well, John, don't you? You've got like a number of Facebook groups, you've got a number of Twitter groups, and you use all of those to get people then onto your website, where you offer various free downloads, discount coupons, documents then that people can get in return for their emails to get on that list. I think you do that really, really well, actually. So anyone who wants to sort of check out what John's doing, go and have a look.
but that's one of the things that you do need to get yourself organized to build your list. And I've been very slow at doing it. I mean, I've only got just under, I've actually got 3 lists inevitably, because I've got Aweber, which I'm still on. I'm on Active Campaign, which I absolutely love, and I've got a couple of lists on MailChimp. And as long as you keep the total on MailChimp under 2,000, it's still free. So why not take advantage of that? Plus, of course, you've got all your existing students. We haven't talked about other platforms, but one of the things I would strongly recommend people do when they build a Udemy course is to go onto another platform like Thinkific or Teachable, and mirror their Udemy site on one of these platforms. They're not marketplaces. You're responsible for driving the traffic to that. If anything happens to Udemy, you've got all your courses in another place, so it's good insurance. Anybody who joins those courses, you own the email address, and that's really, really important. Plus, you have complete control over the pricing there. You can, have $1 courses or $1 coupons. You can do anything you want there. So you're completely unrestricted, and you can do and create offers for your courses which are outside of the restrictions that Udemy imposes. I price my courses on Teachable the same as I do on Udemy, but I can offer $1 coupons if I want. I then put my premium content, which is something you alluded to earlier, on Thinkific, so that I don't cannibalize my audiences with, one price point's $297, the other price point's $50, and the content's very much richer in one than the other, and that's a progression. So don't try and sell somebody $297, sell them $1, sell them $7, then sell them $39, and when they've consumed all that, then maybe offer them a higher price point.
Yeah, fantastic. And that actually goes on to answer a question we've had here from Talented Mr. Sellers. Thanks for all the likes, by the way. Thank you very much. That's a really, really good point. It's one of the things I say to a lot of people is a lot of people say to me, I've got loads of really big, expensive training programs. Do I put them on Udemy? And, the answer there is obviously no, because Udemy is a marketplace, not an LMS. And if you're going to be selling expensive programs, make sure they're on an LMS that you own, that you have control over, that you get all of those contact details for your students. You should only be using Udemy, and this is my personal opinion, by the way. It's not a fact or a statement you should follow. It's my personal opinion, is that you should be using Udemy for your smaller taster courses where you can sell them at smaller discounted prices, where you don't mind only earning a couple of dollars for them. Udemy have affiliates that are going to pick up your courses for you, and this is a good thing. They will sell your courses for you, but that means that you might only make $2.50 on the sale of a course. So clearly you don't want to be putting your $500 courses up there, because that's not going to make you feel very happy when you get your $2.50 for it. So you see it as the bottom of a sales funnel. Get people in the door into your Udemy platform, and then use other platforms like your Thinkific, like your Kajabi, like your Teachable to host your bigger programs and move them up slowly. Yeah.
I talk about a content pyramid where you need to have a very broad base of simple low things at the bottom, which may be free. You then have a sort of low and mid tier, which is typically where you're in Udemy. You then have your mid to high tier, which is typically Teachable, or maybe Thinkific, where you put your more expensive stuff. And then right at the top, you've got the ultra premium price, which is your coaching programs. And basically, the higher you get up, the more expensive you get up, the more access they get to you. And the lower down the bottom, absolutely, and the more automated it is, and the less access there is to you. But you need to have that range of offering.
One of the things I've loved seeing on the sort of LMS platforms that are out there at the moment is the flexibility to add sort of tiered pricing options to each of your offerings that you have on your platform there. And one of the things that a lot of successful online or course instructors are doing now is on those private LMS platforms, they are adding, not only do they have their course for one price, they have their course plus a 1-hour coaching session with you personally for an additional price, or the course plus 3 hours of coaching with you personally for an even bigger price. And I think that works really, really well on those bigger platforms to get your premium products out there, where you can literally go from having a $50 course right the way up to having a $5,000-$10,000 course on a platform like that, because of the interaction you can get. So I think that's really exciting.
And you can also bundle as well. So I've got three entry level. I've got an entry level course, an intermediate course, an advanced course, masterclass. But I can't bundle on Udemy. But in Teachable, I have a bundle, and that works out at about it would otherwise be about $120 full price, and I think it's $48.50 or something. So again, you get a good price point. But people, the person who buys it also gets fantastic value, because in that case, they get about 35 hours worth of courses.
That's a good strategy as well. I think when you're bundling courses together, it no longer becomes about the price per course, it becomes the value they're getting for spending one amount of money. Awesome. Right. Well, I think we'll start to slowly bring that to a wrap. Now, I'd just like to put out, we've got a question on here from John. Just a quick question on what you said previously. Do we comment on the public section or private message the person when we get a negative review? Public.
I comment publicly, but never attack them. If I get a bad review, and sometimes you just get like 2 stars and no comment, or 1 star and no comment, and I just say, thank you very much for your rating. I would really appreciate it if you would message me with some recommendations on how you think I can improve the course, because obviously you can see shortcomings in it. I look forward to hearing from you. And I just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think it's just important remembering that everyone can see what you respond to. There is, how do you want to be seen by your potential students? One of the first things when people first come across you, they don't know who you are. If they're looking at your course, I certainly do. I go straight to the reviews and I have a look at what other people have said about that instructor's courses. So if I see that instructor who I'm looking to potentially buy from, bitching to their students that have left nasty replies, I'm not going to think very highly of that instructor, and I'm very unlikely to buy their course. So you can use these negative and positive reviews really to your advantage, because it's an opportunity for you to publicly show your audience what kind of instructor you are, what kind of person you are, and how you're likely to respond to their comments as well. So certainly respond to those reviews publicly. Yeah, Karen.
Sorry, just one little tip is I, in many of my courses, quite early on, have a very simple 1-minute video which just says, after I've introduced myself, I just say, please could you introduce yourself in the discussions, who are you, what do you do, why have you come into the course, what are you hoping to learn from it, and very often I get responses to that, and I always answer them. And in the automated message, I welcome everybody who enrolls to the courses, and I always get messages back from people saying, thank you very much, really appreciate it. But then I answer those, so they know they're just not automatic messages. And when a student feels that they do have, you're a real person, you have some engagement with them, then you'll find that not only will they be much more engaged in the course, but they're much more likely to come back and buy more of your courses because they have confidence in you as an instructor.
Absolutely, definitely. Do we have any other questions from the audience there? Not just yet. John and I do have a very cool download for you. You don't have to exchange your email address for this at all. I've just posted a link to it. Basically, we've made a document that's got all 23 of our combined best-selling Udemy courses.
28.
And we've given...
28.
Oh, is it 28?
5 of yours.
Oh, wow, okay.
Mine.
28, sorry, of our combined best-selling courses, and we've actually hyperlinked the title of the courses in there, and it will give you 50% off both of our courses. So I'll just stick the link over in the comment section over here. And we have another question. So please feel free to jump in, download that document. You don't have to exchange your email for it at all. It's evergreen. So if you are watching the recording of this Blab, please still go on over there. Those coupons are not going to expire. We've decided to just keep this open. Why not? Mm-hmm. And we've got Talented Mr. Salas one has asked us, which LMS do we recommend? And he does a lot of video work, and he has several hours of in-depth material. I'm happy to throw my own opinion in there. Is honestly, when it comes to an LMS, Talented Mr. Salas, I think it really depends on what you're actually intending to use it for. What is your business model? What are you using an LMS for? As a short answer, I'd say the majority of the LMSs out there now all tend to actually have fairly similar features, and it's the choice is more about your own feeling of using the platform, how you enjoy your own user experience of using that particular platform. I personally chose one by trying them all out. They all have free trials available. Go in, upload your courses, have a play with the different features, connect and integrate your various emailing systems and everything else, and just see how you like the feel of it. Like 18 months ago, there were really bad ones and really good ones, but now they have to be competitive with one another, and therefore I've sort of noticed that when one gets a sexy new feature, it's not long before the others do as well. So that's my personal view on that. Go and try them all. They
watch each other. I mean, I was talking to Greg Smith at Thinkific the other day, and he said he's quite sure that Ankur Nagpal at Teachable watches what he does, and when they innovate, then he follows. And he said, and we're watching them as well. So yeah, they're all stable, and they're good. I mean, I use Teachable and Thinkific, as I've explained, for two different purposes. In terms of the classes of courses I put on there, and I'm happy with both of them. I don't have experience of New Kajabi. I'm sure it's great as well. I don't think it'd be fair to criticize it. It's horses for courses. Find out what you like, but definitely give yourself an alternative to Udemy. Do not only put your courses on Udemy. And we haven't even started talking about Amazon Video Direct. I mean, we maybe keep that for another time, but that's another really game changer coming over the hill.
I'm really excited about hearing about what's going on with that. I've just signed up for an account. Those of you listening who haven't signed up for Amazon Video Direct account, I'd go and do that now. Very briefly, just want to tell us very briefly what it is, John, because it is exciting.
Every time Amazon do anything, you've got to sit up and pay attention. They do not mess about, and they basically are creating a platform which is going to be for video what Kindles is for books. And it's very early days yet. There's still issues about it. It's far from perfect. The one thing that is unique about it, and which actually is a real stumbling block, is that they are insisting on having closed captioning. And that basically means you need to have a written text which provides the subtitles to your recorded video. Now, I did a Facebook Live and a Periscope about this yesterday. That is a real hurdle, and up to now, most people have ignored closed captioning. I'll give you the very quick, easy solution to it, and there's 2 free routes, as opposed to paying somebody a lot of money to do it. You can create, if you upload your video as a private video to YouTube, get YouTube set up so it creates closed captions. You then download the file. You'll have to edit it because it's machine created and it makes horrendous mistakes. Or, and I'll type in the name of this software because it's not obvious.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw you talking about closed captions the other day, John, and I thought this is something I really, really need to get on, actually, because even before it started to become something that that really differentiated courses in the LMS platforms, it's something that a lot of my students were actually asking for. So I think it really is the future of online learning. Get your stuff transcribed and get the closed captions on there. But I'd love to know if you've got some software we can use, John.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the link. Actually, I've misspelt it. I'm just going to copy the link. I found this. It's free software, which is always brilliant. That's the link to it. What this means, I've just decided this is the quickest and easiest way of doing it. You import the video into this software, and basically you listen to a 5-second burst and you just type it out. But because it then creates the SRT file and it's got all the timings set up, it does all the hard work for you. All you've got to do is create a type thing. That's something a VA can do for you. But the software makes it easier, because the difficulty is you've got to create this what's called an SRT file, which has got the timings and the text in the right way so that the closed captioning system can read it. And this seems to work. I've just started playing with it, but it does seem to be so far the best solution I've come up with. But otherwise, it's going to take me a long time to get. I've got over 700 or 800 videos. I'm not going to get them all up there. You may consider, when you make your next course, starting to add it to Amazon, but also think about taking some of your best YouTube videos where you've got single standalone videos on hot topics, maybe 5 or 10 minute videos, not longer than that. Average about 5 minutes, I would say, at the moment for Amazon Video Direct. Put them up there, make them free and accessible against the monetization of ads. Don't try and sell them at 99 cents. You can do your courses, each video at 99 cents, and then offer an episodic seasonal price for the whole course, and that's how you get your pricing in for the course, and that could work so you can keep it aligned with your other pricing elsewhere. There are 350 to 400 million people with credit cards who like buying things on Amazon. That is 30 to 40 times the size of the market on Udemy. Do the maths.
Wow. So it's just got to be done, hasn't it? It really does. I think it's going to be worth the investment, getting closed captions on there for sure. Yeah. Wow. We've gone through quite a bit today. We'll close that up there. We've gone to the full hour now. John, how can people follow you, get in touch with you if they want to know more?
My email is john@jbdcolley.com. Are you going to type that in, Sarah?
I've just popped in the link to our shared document with over 28 courses on there, 50% off. We've got those hosted on John's website anyway, so I'm sure you can go to his contact him page.
That's it. Thank you, talented Mr. Salas. And you can also, I've got a Facebook page, the 6 Minute Strategist page. Please come and like that and join that. That's been growing very strongly. I'm doing a lot of Facebook Live stuff, so you can find me on there. I'm on Periscope at JBD Colley, and I'm doing a weekday Periscope every day as well. So those are the sort of 3 best places to get hold of me. And I love this Blab platform because it's really live, interactive, and engaging. And I think live video, if you're talking going back to what's one of the best ways to sell your courses, well, the best way is not to sell it, but actually persuade people that they like you so much they want to buy it. And live video streaming, Periscope, Facebook Live. I haven't tried Snapchat yet, but that's got to be another route. and things like Blabs are definitely the way forward.
Absolutely. That live human interaction is always the way to go. Thank you, John. I've put my Facebook group up there as well. If you are creating online courses, do come over to Entrepreneur to Edupreneur, as well as John's Facebook groups. Between us, you will get lots and lots of information about creating your online learning empire. Great. Thank you all very much for coming, and tune in for the next one.
Very good. And I'll just stick up my online learning club Facebook group as well if people want to jump into that.
Beautiful.
There we go. Anyway, brilliant. Thank you all
Thanks,
for attending,
everyone.
and thank you to everybody on replay if you watch it. Definitely interact with both of us. Sarah, it's been brilliant fun. Thank you for doing this, and let's do it again sometime.
Definitely. See ya.
Bye bye.